Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 3 of our Cities Skylines 2 vanilla experience. I hope you're having a wonderful day, which now has a name, so I can stop calling it that. We have gone with Yokeley as voted for you guys on the community tab, which was kind of a joint idea really from Philip Brady, who suggested Oakley, and then Bruno came in with an elaboration on Yokeley, so both of you guys can claim the name on that one, as our suburbs burned down in the now named Yokeley, which is brilliant. So love that name. Thank you so much for all your suggestions. Either way, we have some services to address today. There's some needs across the city. We're also beginning to fall into major production chain deficits, which is not helping our economy because we're having to import 20 tons of coal a month, which is not great for the chain at all. We need to resolve this today. Alongside changing our taxes so everyone is a little happier and well balanced in the city, as our demands have stagnated a little bit as well. So first of all, let's start off with that coal mine. In the current limitations of the tiles, I don't really want to open too many tiles, but we do have a little bit of coal in the current tile configuration here, which I think is what I want to exploit just sort of temporarily. So I'm going to move this power line. I did want it here, but I just want to bump it the other side of the highway. There we go, just let it cross over the road a bit further down. Now let's bring on our natural resources map here, gravel road. And then just where we can peel off this little national highway road, let's bring in some nice curves and begin to position our main building. Of course we can open up this with more industry on the hillside when we eventually open those tiles. That's a little bit of ways yet though. I want to keep this series quite slow paced in terms of the expansion. I don't like growing too quickly in CS really, especially the vanilla experience. Slow and steady certainly wins the race, right? And then we'll just match this area to the shape that we have here. And when we're coming to the highway here, I don't want it to come right up next door to it. I know we are missing some resources there, but that's okay. Only a tiny bit. And then pretty much all the way down. Now this is sat on a hillside, so it is going to be sloped. I think if we bring in some rocks and perhaps even a thicker tree line there, just a different change of textures if it is some hillside industrial site, should allow us to severely bring down the import of coal anyway. Once it has its resources, which it won't have at the minute. I'll just keep all these pretty much next to the road as they head back into town, so we can hold that in. Now we should see that take pretty much immediate effect. Yep, there we go. That reduced down. You can also do the same trick we did last episode too, of terraforming these sites just so you get a little bit more to them. Also works with the coal as well. Anything with that surface sort of painting mechanic also works. I'll be happy with that. Let's delete this disconnected little power line here as well. That's going to annoy me. I'm also going to do a smaller little site just on the other side of the road as well, just so I can bring ourselves out of total deficit, which would be nice. But just another little industrial site there to complement the one that's sat on the hill. Part of the same business, right? You can imagine there. Which sends us to pretty much producing entirely our own coal now, only relying on a ton of import, which will definitely get better over time, of course. With our simulation, let's come into our taxes now. So after checking out a recent city showcase, which you can find out uploaded on the channel, by the way, it'll be last week by the time you guys see this video. Darwin sent us a city with some really nice tax rates, which I'd love to try and apply here. To see if it kind of responds with all forms of the vanilla game really, if that's more of a late game setup. So with our tax rates, we're going to start with a high rate of 10% for our first two tiers here, uneducated and poorly educated. And then we'll drop it down to 7, 6 and 5 respectively. Our commercial, we're just going to bring that down to a straight flat 9%. And with the office, let's bring this down to 7. And then with our industrial, down to 8. Let's leave our game on 3 speed while that takes effect. We do also have need for graveyard expansion, don't we? We do. There's a lot of dead. Okay, we'll have to pay for that. We can't avoid that one, I don't think. It's okay though. It's fine. It will eventually pay for itself and whatnot. So yeah, we'll let those simulation changes take effect and see how our demands respond to it. In other suggestions around the current existing part of the city before we do start today's build, was that we do have a few too many traffic lights up and down this couplet system, so let's remove these. I don't want to remove all of them. I do want some of them definitely on the key buildings here where we got traffic coming in and coming out of the city. I want the traffic lights. But on smaller junctions like this, we always want priority on the main road, you know. Same here again too. And that one will keep, that one there too. But those can go. That should be good there too. I will keep the one also down the couple. I did mention possibly turning this into a roundabout, didn't I? And then we've also got another light to switch off down here as well. Take that one out. So that should leave our beginning coupler system with much easier flow now with just the 2 sets of lights across the main section. So it's really interesting just watching the simulation adapt in vanilla. We just went from minus 14,000 to minus 4 as the demands begin to respond to the new taxation system. It really is a very different simulation to CS1, you know. In CS1, it's you just kind of, you set your golden tax rates of 12-13%, don't you? And then you're kind of done with it. But with CS2, it is much more sensitive to quite a lot of different factors, it seems. So yeah, I was going to keep letting it run anyway, and we'll see what happens with it after a bit of time. We just dropped again, did we? Yeah, see, from minus 5,000 down to minus 400 now. Oh, you guys also wanted me to turn off the chirper stuff as well, didn't you? I'm sorry, let me get rid of that. How do I shut you up? There you go, chirper pop-ups are now disabled. we have shut them up. So look at the demands now responding to the new tax system. Isn't that really interesting? Also sends us into the positive as well, plus 6,000 on the taxes, and still climbing, all of them too. All of them going up. The landfill site is also full, so we could do with... allows garbage to be processed at a higher speed, the hazardous waste collection point. We probably do need this. I'm just going to take out these car packs here, I think, in that case then. We don't need them, and they're not really getting used either, so it's fine. And then you will fit exactly on the street corner, will you? You will indeed. And the industry behind it will just regrow, so I'm happy with that. So that should increase your processing speed. That, again, with our new tax rates now, we can possibly also readjust some service budget, which has probably been reduced. Let's go for 100% funding on garbage management. There we go. So that brings their processing speed up significantly, doesn't it? It should start to burn through that backlog a little bit quicker now, hopefully. Keep our eye on that as the episode goes on. Either way, in today's episode, what I wanted to explore was the idea, which was kind of hard to do, if not impossible, in CS1. You had to take a lot of time with, in the early game, or the early years, with green cities car parking and then specialist zoning. Or you had to wait for the ploppable parking to come out. But kind of big box retail with huge parking and big commercial buildings, very kind of American sort of vibes with this type of creation. Something certainly in the UK though, something we'd call like a retail park. You get them pretty much all over the world, I'm sure. But my point being is that because parking is now so fleshed out in CS2, a build like this seems really possible. I'm glancing back to our inspiration on Ithaca as the milestone pops as our progression panel goes up. Let's see what we unlock here. Canopy Cafe is just unlocked. But otherwise, pretty crap. there's not a lot with that one. We'll talk about some districts today as well, I think. But yes, glancing back to our inspiration at Ithaca, there is a lot of big box retail, big car parking with big supermarkets, shopping centres, bowling alleys, Starbucks, all that kind of vibe. Which I think will look really cool, kind of sat here, right? And we'll mix and match some zoning in this as well, get different size of buildings in, and position a very American build across here, alongside also expanding this bit of the suburb and continuing to grow the city centre as well, because I also want to bring in welfare at some point today. So with the road, let's bring in straight section 56, and then just bring this road down the side here. I may or may not develop this into another crossing into the industrial area. It doesn't give us grief for it, that is. Will at that particular angle, will it? Can we do there instead? And then I wonder if I just want to replace this pathway with that road now. I think we will. Thanks to CS2's fantastic sort of inbuilt node manipulation, that junction is no longer a problem anymore. We can just bend it out to the other side. I think we might even have to do a little bridge here, which I think I'm happy to do that. A slight embankment there. Yeah, I think that's pretty cute. Kind of gives the stream some nice clearance there as well, doesn't it? Another nice little feature for the industrial area there. That comes down and then connects back into there again. That's superb. So let's start playing with some car parking first of all. So let's design kind of our first big box unit, okay? So we're going to use mostly alleyways for this and the alleyway parking roads. Probably one way, I imagine, for a lot of it. So let's bring ourselves back down to earth. No road guidelines snapping here. And then let's come out from here. Do I want to leave 3 tiles between the road and the arterial? I think so. Maybe even 2, actually. Yeah, I think we'll go with 2. But as we do come into these, what I do want to do is grab the parking roads. And now let's place our building. So we'll grab a signature. I am playing with the Leisure Venues pack here. You can grab this for super cheap on Instant Gaming now, and it does help support the channel. And you do honestly get some of the best buildings in CS2. Greenies Leisure Venues are just gorgeous. They're really sweet. We'll play with these as the city grows up as well. So we did just unlock the Canopy Cafe, didn't we? So why don't we have that there, right? Like that. So obviously some sort of fun cafe. Come here for drinks, something to eat, etc. on your way into town. And then I really want to essentially Americanize it now. I just want to have lots more car parking wrapped up around these big commercial units. So let's also do some perpendicular parking full roads. At the end of this one, let's come up with this. Now I wouldn't mind also having some kind of fun curves in here as well. Not all the car parks are perfectly straight, you know. And then with this one, let's also wrap around the side of the building. Yeah, something like that's great. So I am constantly referencing just Google Earth satellite imagery here just to get a sense of how these larger car parks are configured around here, you know. So we'll get that one in there. Let's bring this one up a little bit further. Again, another little one-way road there to hook that one in at a 90-degree angle by changing my direction. So it might look pretty mishmashy at first, but give it time. Like the American Dream developer, right? And then with this one, we're going to switch to Wall Street parking again. Back down to leaving 2 tiles between the road and the collector. And then we can have something like that. Probably thought some other buildings in here as well. A lot of US Southwest stuff I think is going to work very nicely for what I want to happen here. I'm going to use that quite a bit, I think. I want to keep it kind of strictly work focused, so commercial or office here. I don't really want anything else around this area. So with these little areas in between, you can use surfaces if you want to. I'm just going to embellish with a few more flamboyant trees here, I think. You definitely see more sort of extravagant landscaping around these parts, at least in the UK. Maybe not so much in some of the concrete jungle ones you get in the US, which you haven't seen some of them, by the way, like really do. Especially Phoenix. I spent so much time looking at Phoenix with Ilos, but you know, just seeing the amount of car parking there really is in the US for some of these sites, especially around the stadiums, it's absolutely wild. Cool. Now all of a sudden we can start to create that look of this sort of commercial that's bound by car parking. Lots of fun configurations. So I don't always want it to be kind of this, you know, sometimes it is just big cubes. So let's have a look at what other buildings we've got to play with here. We do have Gusto Gelato, that's another smaller one, isn't it? Let's see what else we have. Will the UK pub work nicely in the corner there, actually? Does that settle in? I wouldn't say that's overly UK themed, is it? So I think we can probably get it in. Is that, oh, that's the Pig Brother meme pig, isn't it? Like where he's like, brother, may I have some oats? And he's like, no, you can't, or something like that. Editing egg, I'm sure we'll leave it up on screen for you. But we'll have that there. That's going to start producing entertainment for the city, which is nice. Turning back to signature buildings, again, I'm going to glance back to leisure venues. Some of the bigger ones are really nice, but, you know, Shard Arena, we'll save that stuff for much more larger projects, I think. But the office settles in there perfectly there, doesn't it? I think I'm going to do that again. Just around some other signs. This US Southwest office stuff is fantastic. Works on multiple different spots. It's really nice. I think here where I just want to correct the position of the zoning, I'm just going to actually remove it from there. That'll let me get another little Southwest office tucked in there nicely. Remove that again now we don't need it. And then let's just add in some more trees around here too. As this road's going to get very busy, we also need to make this 4-lane. We'll do that today as well. Let's add in some asymmetrical roads. So we'll do we afford 5 lane? 5 lane would also remove parking off of this arterial, which honestly kind of goes in today's build's favour, so we'll do that. So lots of asymmetrical action. I'd like another node here, which you can do, by the way, by double clicking will install another node. So you can then break the asymmetrical when you do it right anyway. There you go. So just force those asymmetrical ones around. That's fine. We won't be getting access to that. We'll develop a proper junction down there. And then with these roads here now, let's see what's happening with the grid. Realign ourselves. So let's begin to match up what's going on over this way. Will you cross over, please? No, you're not going to do it. We're going to have to lose this street. I think we will. That's okay though. Evict some people because we're building a bridge. To which the people probably say, could you not have done that before we bought our house? And no, says the government. Absolutely not. Now let's have that one come down too. So this will be a different grid structure here. You can actually see where it's breaking there, can't you? But it's fine. We should be able to make it work. I'm going to bring that one right up against the river there. And really form the majority of the grid structure from this one right here, you know? That's what I want. And for this here, we'll build some skate parks. I think we need another school at some point as well, so we'll get that in today as well. I think there's a lot of satisfaction always to be had in CS1 or 2, isn't there, with just some suburban expansion. Again, before I connect into that second grid frame, I'm just forming up mostly what I want around here. Then finally, once I'm happy, we can then merge the grid frame together. This stops it breaking all over the place. You know, now we've only got to deal with kind of one broken block, and then the new grid structure can take over as it comes out of that side, okay? It's always worth paying attention to that grid, isn't it, I think? Yes, I love that. Lots of office park businesses tucked in here now again, right? It really blends in, doesn't it? I mean, you could pass that off as a cafe as well, couldn't you? Love the little bit of scrap detailing down there as well. Very nice, really like that. So let's come into some actual functional car parking from the simulations perspective. Of course, these are just roads. But for people to recognise this to come and actually park here, I would love to play with some basically repetition patterns of vanilla parking. So let's have a look which one's most appropriate for us first. We do have to pay upkeep on these, which is also worth remembering. How are we doing for budget? 10,000, we're okay at the minute. We've definitely got some headroom to play with. I don't want to go multi-story here. I'm very much after the visual of on-ground level parking. So let's now bring in another road for some larger commercial for this little area. Let's bring this all the way down. And then we can form something off of this. So with the mechanical parking, we could have... Let's blend in a solar unit there. And then can we get another southwest office on the corner there? We can. Let's do 2 next door to that. And then I'd like some big car parking now, so do we want to move to large? I think we do. I think we're also going to bring a road down here as well for that. So that's the visual one. I prefer it without the fencing, to be honest, but I can live with it. And if you are playing with mods, the better bulldozer mod can do that for you. If you don't want to enjoy a true vanilla experience. It can be an acquired taste at times, admittedly. The quality of life Move It and Anarchy bring untold, right? In 1,000 years from now, they'll write tales of the impact that Move It had. Wonderful, but that's really forming up. So I'm happy with that. Let's get in Espresso on the go down the main street too. Let's get the lobster tail up on the corner. Also bring in, what other commercial do we want to try here? Some Southwest as well. We don't have much commercial demand at the minute. That's okay though. A lot of it's really in the city centre, isn't it? Let's begin to satisfy some demands though. We do have a lot of residential. I'm happy to have some more people in. With the block configuration here, I think I'm happy to go for 4 deep with a gap in the middle. So let's paint some of these blocks out. And then I want to bring in, I think, some waterfront housing as well for some of these deeper blocks. Honestly, not a style we use that often anymore since those region around the world packs, but it is still nice. So fill in some larger, chunkier blocks of that there, I think. Start getting some people living and moving around here. Looking forward to an episode on public transit soon too. We did mention some other services around here, didn't we? So elementary school, we pretty much need another one now. We will essentially by the time all these residents move in as well. We're also due another high school. With the high school we can probably upgrade. We can, let's do that. Very nice. How much capacity does that bring us up to? 1300, that's plenty, isn't it? Yeah. And then with our school, I'm pretty sure we're done with the upgrades, aren't we? We could do... Do we have room for an extension wing anywhere through here? Looks like we could actually pop maybe 2 more across the street. How much does that put us up to? 700. Okay, I can get away with that, I think. I don't hate that. Another thing I do want to also put in, which we haven't really talked about at all yet, is the administration stuff, which we should probably grab from the development tree now. So yeah, the welfare office, let's grab that. City Hall will be part of our sort of major downtown area, which will be its own episode. Don't want to work on that today. Beyond that, let's have a little flick through. Large roads we can grab as well. Gas plant, we don't really need electricity or any utilities yet. Everything's fine there. Crematorium, I wouldn't mind. Let's grab that. We'll also check in on our healthcare as well. College is also worth it at this point. And then that should be it, I think, for right now. We'll definitely save some points for a public transport episode too. And let's also do large parks. And do you want to do large sports parks as well? Yeah, let's do that. Because then we get the pictures, don't we? A lot of buildings. It really is, isn't it? So let's add one of those new parks to this area. But we also get some big boy parks as well from leisure venues here, don't we? These are going to be perfect for our big box area, aren't they? How much was that? Quite a lot, I think, wasn't it? It's nice, though. It's very nice. Game, set, and match. A complete leisure experience with indoor and outdoor sports courts, mini golf, paddle courts, dining area, and a vibrant venue for playing, relaxing, and dining. That is literally the description of today's episode, isn't it? It's exactly what I wanted here. Perfect. And again, a great asset. If you missed our showcase on the leisure venues, you really should go watch it. Just really cool. We can come play mini golf here in amongst all the car parking. Love that. I also wouldn't mind some vanilla office, I suppose. Let's go ahead and get to them. And all the other office styles are quite skyscrapery, so they don't work overly well sometimes, I don't think. I don't want any office there, though. Not that one. Let's get it next door. I want some large buildings here as well now, so purposely trying to zone 6x6 units. Again, not forgetting to continually bring in that massive amount of car parking. So can we come in behind here? Looks like we can. Again, I'm going to bring that all the way down. It won't end up being that long, of course. Let's bring in some of the angled one as well. Let's do... Can we come in right next door? I think so. And we'll send that one down and then bring in some of those one-way roads again. Just where we want them to hook back in. And then we can delete that there. And that also brings us more opportunities, some more of those cute little southwest office spaces to develop. Which we really love, of course. And then let's just bring in another normal road just to box all of that off. Sure. And that should sit quite happily there, I think. Fantastic. In terms of medical, again, I want to check the funding before we begin to bring in new services. I know we definitely reduced this, so let's put that back up. So do you want to do 100% now? What does that give us? So we've got 72 sick or injured. I'm really actually glad we've got that. In CS1, like, no one was ever sick. It's actually nice to see we've got, you know, 69 sick people, which is nice. Hello. Could have timed that one better, could I? Bit of a park and rec. I can actually see on my Google Earth inspiration that there's a skate park and playground here. So I'd love to recreate this actually. But with our large parks, I've got there's even more. There's the Neo Barracks over here as well. God, I love leisure venues. It's so much fun. Let's do our skate park. We'll have this. And then I think we've got a basketball court in there as well. Let's do that. on this street. Let's do 2 of those. And I can also see a fun little playground as well, so let's have that up on the corner, which I really like. I'm going to snap them to a 90-degree angle of the skate park, because that is where I want them, but really I'm just looking for this rectangular shape in the middle. We'll have to send it back there. It just looks a little bit something like that, and then if there's any park props I can add around it. Maybe actually one of the statues from the China park might be quite appropriate here. Bit of a contemporary modern art installation, if you will. Something like this. Those props are incredible, aren't they, from the China pack? I might just send this in the grid. Nothing around, nothing overly fancy. Want to create a pedestrian crossing? Probably not. They can cross at the main roads there. We'll also do more traffic light work down there as well, don't worry. I will learn my lesson after the couplet debacle. And now let's just bring in some oaks here, lots of leafy trees around the parks. Dense foliage, etc. And then just a wonderful little green expansion there for the suburb, isn't it? So we also have the Chinese community kindergarten here, which I think would be quite nice as a bit of a Main Street building here. In terms of what it's doing, it's giving outdoor recreation and +5 well-being, so it's essentially a park. That's how I'm understanding it. I do like it, but I think the fact it's got a playground on it, I think that wants to be on the suburban street, doesn't it? Not here. Because that's a real heavy main road. There we go. Yeah, let's get that embedded in the suburb. We can finish off our southwest housing here now too. But southwest and waterfront should blend pretty well together, really, as an example, if you want a side-by-side comparison there. That low-density sprawl, I'm quite happy with that. Wonderful news, let's get rid of those traffic lights before we trigger the police again. And I think I'm just going to have to let the simulation run for a little bit. And then we'll see if we can play as a sports pavilion apex climbing as well. What's that? I need money. So I'm just going to let the simulation run for a little bit. And let the coffers pile up. But otherwise we're okay. We've got perpetual garbage at the power plant, it would seem. Why is that? Is that because that road there isn't just connected? Let me do that with an alleyway. I wonder if that was why. Garbage trucks maybe can't get to it. How are they getting on with the garbage processing over here too? The deficit is slowly coming down. They're about to hit their peak. I might even just up garbage management a little bit. Maybe up to 110%. There we go. So we just dropped below 293 now. So they are starting to actually make it through the backlog, which is really what we need. There we go. It's lost its full status now, so that should help. They've had a car crash off of the bridge. Don't tell me. Everyone seems okay there. But yeah, I'm just going to let the game run because I need to let the coffers pile back up. But we're still earning decent money. Those tax rates have turned out really nicely. Some of that southwest commercials coming in now too. We get a big corny. I'm not sure how big this stuff grows. Yeah, we can get 6x6 there. And let's do another one of that next door too. Alongside a bit more here across the street. Perfect demands at the minute. This is what you'd love to see, isn't it? When you, whatever you want to zone, it just immediately grows for you. Yes, please. And then with some other vanilla car parking, let's do a couple of long parking lots next door to each other, right? See if we can make some fun patterns there. And maybe we do have those cute smaller zones. That looks perfect space for Southwest office, doesn't it? Not enough customers, that's no problem. I can bring you more people. Yeah, I'll carry on zoning residential as well in the current existing frames we already have. Just so we can get these demands to go away, because I think we've got not enough people in the city at the minute, so we'll get those in. So while the simulation does run, what I am happy to do is work on this intersection down here. So there's an odd little tile here. Which is going to cost me 31 grand, which I'm not happy about, but that's okay. That's alright. I'll see the simulation run. In Ithaca, this arterial kind of really curves off to join the national road here. And then this road here just kind of goes off into suburbia and creates a roundabout and just connects to local sort of collector systems. So I'd like to do something similar here, but I'll have some fun really with CS2's vanilla road tools, especially using the highways now we have them unlocked as well. First of all, let's just reform the hierarchy here. So I'm just going to keep it to 4 lane. I'll likely just add asymmetrical turns on larger roads, but for right now, this is all okay. We're following the same grid structure, and then this is where I do want road guideline on, because as I do come on to this, I just want to make sure I hit and turn off cell length so I can snap into that middle configuration. Pretty much that. Now I got that in, let's go ahead and downgrade those curves to be 4 lane highway, I think. So where we can play with the highway road mechanics and get some nice little slip lanes. And then with this old leftover road, let's bring this down toward the highway. Again, following what happens really here in Ithaca. It is just a simple T-junction, but I really want to try and just give it some spice with CS2's highway road tools if we can. So I'd love a little bypass road there, like for people wanting to go straight on and come off, they can just do just that and carry on down. And then something not too dissimilar either for people wanting to get straight back on the arterial. In that sort of fashion, I think. I think we can probably find a better position for that one, can't we? And this junction here will certainly evolve over time as well. It does allow us now though to bring all of these roads down, so making sure we're still respecting the grid structure. 180 degrees. It is a slight crack, but it's just joining a new formation. The cracks aren't too noticeable, so I'm happy for it to break there. And these cracks here don't bother me too much. This is just going to be outer-lying suburbia anyway, so no worries with a tiny little gap between some of the low-density homes. That's absolutely fine. And as I mentioned, there are roundabouts here in Ithaca, so let's definitely do that. Certainly on the approach on the road into town, right? Let's have so much choice now, isn't there? Medium roundabout with asymmetrical center question mark, and then perhaps also a little bit of asymmetry on those roundabout approaches as well, just so they get that extra lane on them, right? As you come into what will probably be a much busier road once that city centre exists, you imagine, right? I reckon there's probably scope for an eventual arterial upgrade project there, which would be very American, wouldn't it? Like removing the homes to replace it with more lanes. I can see that happening one day. But I'm happy to let that grow and develop naturally, of course. And then with this road here as well, as a final complement to this junction, let's bring it right down. So talking more of the road structure, I think I'd also like another 4 lane as well to split through the big box park here, linking with the industrial road here. So let's come on to... And a lot of this space here is going to be car parking, so I'm not too worried about zoning. And we can get that straight across over there as well. That was added another major big unit, so we can do Apex climbing, which is a vertical haven for enthusiasts, offering diverse climbing paths from beginner to extreme. Well, looks like it's going to park quite nicely there, doesn't it, right? It's also got its own parking around it, which helps. I think I'll also link through some more sensible connections from these areas now as well. Let's see if we can find a happy conclusion for this. Let's bring out a road from that one there. Let's bring in some more custom car parking behind the larger buildings. Hoping to create the aesthetic. This one's definitely more landscaping than the classic sort of American one, you know. Tree patterns in the grass is always a nice break to the the concrete sea with the plopper balls, you know. Much different sort of aesthetic, isn't it, I think? But I do like both either way. I'm happy with them. But I think otherwise, that feels like a good point for a detailing time lapse. I'm going to continue the same vibes all the way down to the highway here with the big box retail, more ploppable parking, mix and matches of unit buildings. I really do just need to let the simulation run because I'm constantly pausing and slowing down, and it is not as forgiving as it is in CS1, I fear. Budgets and money is much more expensive in CS2. And it wasn't one, but that's fine though, that's okay. I will also upgrade this road as well, I promise. we'll make that probably 5 lane, I think, eventually 6 one day. And yeah, continue at the suburb this side as well on the frames drawn today, just more people for the area. And some detailing in between, I'm sure. But otherwise, let's detail up our big box suburban dream, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, but that will do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. I think we've done a pretty convincing job here of recreating the big box American dream. These big arterial roads with lots and lots of car parking around it. And a whole bunch of different zoning types today as well. I've also thrown in a bunch of the Dragon Gate commercial stuff during the detailing time lapse, which really makes it look as though it's some sort of like themed Chinese buffet restaurant, which turned out really nicely to sit in amongst all the car parking here. But I'm really happy with how it all turned out. An enormous shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos, with a roll call to our golden patron eggs: Andrew Perez, Bad Wolf, Casino, Darius, Lara Roberts, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, Spartan Angel, Tiana Sannon, and Wesley Kip. So many of you. Oh my god. So many names to read out these days. Thank you so much for that support. It's so incredibly humbling. Links down below to Patreon, Instant Gaming if you're interested. There's plenty more egg down there if you want it, podcasts and whatnot with other Cities Skylines creators, so check it out if indeed you are interested. Got a fun expansion today, commercial, residential, lots of detailing in store for our vanilla build, and it has to be said, I am really enjoying vanilla CS2 at the minute. It's turning out quite nice with this build. I hope you're all enjoying it as well. Otherwise I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.